morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us. With me today is Roseann Higgins, and she is Leukemia Society Woman of the Year. Roseann was with us about 2 or 3 months ago. I may be a little incorrect on that. Talking about SPIES, her headhunter business, as she calls it. She's here to talk about being Woman of the Year for the Leukemia Society. Hello, Roseann.
Good morning.
It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Woman of the Year. Things are happening fast and furious for you, Roseann. SPIES is doing fine. You have a new magazine out. You're Woman of the Year. Do I dare say what's next?
Everything I can.
I love it.
If it's out there, I want to do it.
Tell us about SPIES. Now, how's it going?
It's going really well. I had another couple get married month before last. I have had so many couples in the last 6 months start dating seriously and ask me to stop looking.
Yeah.
So I've had 26 people get married. I've had 15 people marry one of the first 3 people I've found. And I've been finding them at even more places.
Incredible. SPIES standing for?
Single Professional Introductions for the Especially Selective.
Roseann, what makes SPIES so successful, do you think? I think it's your personal touch. It's the way you match people up, isn't it?
It's kind of interesting because I had this guy come in yesterday and I was going to tell him about somebody, and while he was there something just popped and I'm like, because he was talking about hiking. I said, you know, I've got this girl, not just because she likes to hike that she's going to go ooh,
yeah, exactly,
but she wants a nice guy. She's more of a reserved type of a girl. He's a nice guy, not too reserved, but more on that kind of a stream. And she's really attractive, blonde, Nordic, possibly looking. And they were just, it just somehow seemed like this would be the right thing to do. And he owns his own financial planning company and bicycles to work, so he's fit. She wanted somebody fit. He wanted somebody adventuresome, and she's adventuresome. So, you know, it's all those things.
It all fit together.
And so it's the personal touch. It's knowing 2 people. It's having one person who knows them as friends. And so when I call her up, I leave her a friendly message that says, hey, I've got somebody I think you're really going to want to meet. And I know she trusts me. But she wants to come in and find out all about it. And then the other reason it works is because as a romance headhunter, like you said, I'm able to go out and find people that would never think of doing this. And if they see that I might be nice and that I might have nice friends, like last night I did an event with the Leukemia Society and I had 10 of my single friends get together. It wasn't a matchmaking thing. It was just like, these are the 10 most fun friends I know. They happen to be single. And they just had a blast. We had the rowdiest table there. We were there the longest. I think we had the most fun.
When you're matching, if we can say that, you obviously, just like you said, just because she liked hiking doesn't mean that that's going to be a match. Right. You obviously look for one. You knew everything about her as much as you could.
I knew neither one of them had children. I knew that they both wanted somebody with good values. And then I look at the details. She was tall. She wanted somebody tall. She was, I think, 5'9", and he's about 6'1½", and she liked that, and just everything else that goes into it. And then the rest is up to them, whether they have chemistry together. I told her that he's not probably the life of the party type, but I don't think she's looking for that. And she said, you're right, Roseann, I'm not.
Right. Whether the rest is history or not depends on those 2 people, of course.
I'll keep you posted.
Leukemia Society, how did you become involved with, and why?
They sent me a flyer. They sent a lot of people a flyer, and it said Man and Woman of the Year on it, and I thought it was another one of those invitations where the Valley has a lot of events honoring people for their accomplishments. And I thought it meant one of the tenured professionals, or that there's, you know, the people who run the banks or the big companies in town or their own company for the last 10 or 15 years. They're being awarded a lot of recognition because they've been doing it for a long time. Or they've chaired the hardball or this, you know, event.
There's a myriad of things in the Valley, of course.
And it said in there that if you want to become the Man and Woman of the Year, that you can, it's judged on philanthropic efforts. And then I learned what the Leukemia Society does by going to their intro meeting at Macayos on Central. And that's where I learned what their research goes to, and that's where it hooked me.
And you had a personal touch, if you want to share that.
Sure. My mother was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was 3 years ago. And we didn't know much about anything. We took her to the hospital right away because that's what they told us to do. And she had a chemo treatment, and within a week she was back in the hospital, and she never got out because the chemotherapy basically caused her death, I think. I mean, that's what's happening, and that's what I learned by going to this first meeting. When I shared my story, they said that's why a lot of children and adults are dying, is because the treatment is too invasive. So if I could help with research dollars and help raise a lot of money for them, then maybe we could help find either a gentler treatment or a cure, or both.
Leukemia does claim a lot of children. It is claiming children of all ages and adults also. Research, what is new on the horizon? Do they tell you?
Well, the only thing that they mentioned that I thought was pretty exciting, and I just saw it on Frontiers of Medicine on PBS, which has a great show, was umbilical cord blood is being used, and that's a real fascinating frontier. Umbilical cord blood can be offered up by a mother when she has her child into these blood banks. They test it, they make sure that it's pure,
non-disease,
right?
Whatever.
And they put it in blood banks, and they can use this rather than bone marrow, because bone marrow, I gather, is very painful.
Very painful.
And hard to find an exact match for. So you don't need as much of a match in order to use umbilical cord blood. And it has stem cells in it that help the body, I can't speak medically, but they help the body more than, I'm not sure if it's more than, but they help the body similarly to bone marrow. Please don't quote me on that.
To combat, obviously, the disease in stages of treatment.
Healthy cells.
Cells, right. Which only stands to reason that that blood would be high in what would we say, nutrients and things that the body needs, obviously, to combat.
I think I'm way out of it, my
Yes, and I am too, but it does stand to reason that that could be a really exciting research there.
Yes, it is.
What do you feel to be the most rewarding thing about being involved with the society?
Well, they funded 88 researchers last year, and they gave them each $180,000, and I heard from people that that wasn't quite a lot of money. But the more I learn about how important research is, and for instance, Alzheimer's, they have something that's being FDA approved right now.
I saw that.
If we're getting that close, that means that anything, we could be coming closer and closer. And if we can fund the researchers, and they're really critical of who gets these grants. So in the 88 people who won, they had to be investigator-related or novel research designed to bring it from the clinical trials to, from the lab to clinical trials. So just not just studying it in the lab.
It has really been tried and tested, right, and through the trials, yes. As we know, Roseann, in anything, whether it's leukemia, Alzheimer's, any types of cancer, research is the key, and the monies do go to research, and that's what makes it so very important for everyone. Roseann Higgins, Woman of the Year for the Leukemia Society. More after we come back. Staying with us, Roseann Higgins is with me, and she is Leukemia Society Woman of the Year. We promise not to get into any more of the medical jargon. We're dug ourselves out of that hole, talking about something of which we knew not of what we were speaking, just giving you the general sense of all of this and the overview. Don't hold us to any of the medical terminology and quotes that we used. Tell me about the structure for the, I want to say contest. It wasn't exactly a contest, competition, whatever. Well, how was it structured?
I'll tell you how it was structured, and I volunteered to chair it for next year.
Oh,
and I'll
wonderful.
tell you some of the ideas that I've got so that more people can get involved next year.
Okay. I sense a long time connection here with you, with the society. I think you found another passion. I can tell the look on your face.
And they have some of the nicest people.
Okay.
I met it was nice. I got a congratulatory call from the president then, who was Rita Meiser, and she's an attorney with Jennings, Strauss & Salmon, and she's wonderful, and she was excited, and I said, you know, there's so much potential in this event. I raised $11,000, but what if I had 10 people who raised $7,500 to $10,000? We'd raise $75,000, $100,000 for this. That is potential, and I know people who would kill to be a part of this.
And this lady works on potential. I mean, I'll tell you, she always looks to the future. You always look of what is attainable. You're incredible that way, Roseann.
I may look at even what's not attainable and try to do it anyway.
Now, you needed to only raise $5,000.
Well,
to qualify.
To
qualify.
To get the 10 billboards.
Okay.
Right. To get
As a
10
result,
billboards.
you got what now?
We just did the photo shoot last week, and even if I raised the $5,000, I had to be the top female fundraiser to be on the 10 billboards. And I thought, my luck, which is okay because, I did do this in memory of my mom, and even if somebody walked in at the last minute and said, hey, I'd like to be on 10 billboards, and they wrote out a check for $20,000, and
you were doing it from your heart.
So that we would have won. Everybody would have won.
Roseann, tell me, how is it going to feel being plastered all over the valley on 10 billboards?
I don't know.
You're going to be driving down Camelback and look up, and there you are.
I think that if I see it, it'll be interesting, and then I'll get out of the car. If I ever get out of the car near it, I'm going to go, God, is anybody seeing me? I better watch my driving down this road.
Looking at myself here. The realization will sink in then. I mean, I imagine the first time you come face to face with a billboard, you'll go, I am Woman of the Year.
Ooh, I don't know if I'll say that. Yeah, that doesn't really make me excited to say that I am Woman of the Year. Although it's kind of cute because I wore this to a couple of different events.
Now.
I wore it to a couple of different events in the last month because I got this on June 25th. And I've had men come up to me when I was having a good hair day and go, oh, congratulations. And my hair will be covering the L for leukemia. And they'll go, oh, is that USA Woman of the Year? And, congratulations. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then I'll tell them really what it's about. But you asked me about, I don't know about all the ego stuff. I think that, if anything, the benefit to people considering doing this next year would be that it would help their business. It would be that it would be good for their company to get involved in. There was a gentleman who raised $50,000 last year because he was from a digital cable network, and his company donated $5 to the Leukemia Society for every new digital cable hookup they did. And a company can easily get involved in this, get recognition, do something for the Leukemia Society. And then they had a woman raise $35,000 in a city that's been doing this for several years, so they had a lot of people coming to their event. They had the name recognition. They had the people in the community who were aware of it, who were easily ready to support it and make donations. This year I had to go in on the front end of it and request it from people who'd never heard of the event because it was just coming back to the Valley. It had been here, I think, back in 93, possibly 94. And it only worked because I asked over 100 friends for cash donations, and I had over 90 silent auction items worth over $30,000. And
you had some great auction items.
I did. It was funny how they all occurred. Sometimes I'd just be in a conversation with somebody, they say, what's new? Well, I'm raising money for this. And like my caddy friend, Don Robertson, he is on the PGA Tour, and he said, well, I might be able to get a couple of autographed gloves from the players. And I'm like thinking, well, no big deal. That'd be nice. Well, he ended up getting 12. And he got Payne Stewart, who just won the U.S. Open. He was at the Kemper Buick and U.S. Opens when
he
got
didn't just get gloves.
He got Ernie Els, Vijay Singh, Nick Price, Fuzzy Zeller, Freddie Couples, Davis Love III, David Duvall. It was an incredible undertaking. Then Kip Upgrand came forward. I met him at the Alice Cooper golf tournament where I was driving some of the celebrities around, which was kind of fun too. I go everywhere I can to meet people. So Kip was there, and he manages In Celebration of Golf. And he said that he laid out all their memorabilia for the store, and he knew somebody who might be able to donate the framing. They knew somebody who could donate the plaques underneath it. We ended up with a collectible worth over $5,000.
Incredible. Back after this, don't go away. Woman of the Year, Leukemia Society, Roseann Higgins. Past the billboards, folks, I want you to know, now we decided that we're just going to wave and say, that lady looks familiar to me. Yeah. You'll recognize her, of course.
Yeah, just wave.
Okay, your magazine, The Lookout.
Yes.
Yes, brand new.
It came out, I delivered it at the event, the Man and Woman of the Year event, and I wanted to have it ready because I had a lot of friends coming to it. And it was a goal to have it as a summer issue. And I wanted to bring people information that they might not know. I've always written about success, and I thought back, in the 5th grade, I won a citywide essay contest on what the Constitution means to me.
I saw that in your editorial here, or your whatever.
Right. And it is an editorial.
Yes.
And I've always been fascinated with how people like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson,
how people succeed.
Right. And so I went into the Summit 2000 seminar with Anthony Robbins with an open mind, no scheduled appointments with anybody, and I asked around. I said, you know, I write for a couple of publications, Biz AZ magazine, which is going to feature in their anniversary issue upcoming a whole story about this Leukemia Society Man and Woman of the Year fundraiser and how I raised the 90 auction items if people are interested in knowing how that happened and how they might be able to apply those ideas themselves. So the lineup of speakers included John Gray, and I thought, well, I told them I wrote for Biz AZ and The Lookout, and it was amazing how many people said, oh, I've heard of The Lookout, and I'm like, good,
okay.
Good. It wasn't out on the streets yet, but that's okay. It's got some, you know, they can, it sounds familiar.
They're connecting with this name.
That's
I
right.
like this.
And they hooked me up with John Gray. And we sat backstage on the same sofa.
In the green room on purple sofas. I thought that was interesting.
Very good, yeah. And it's just very informal. I asked him a few questions, told him I'd like him for the front cover. Could I get a picture of him on stage? And he said, sure, call my office, ask for this woman. And they sent it to me. I wrote the article about what he said on stage and what he said backstage. And he's coming back in December to give a seminar live. And then I had also had lunch recently with Mark Victor Hansen, who had just written Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul. And I'm friends with Mark and Chrissy Donnelly, who I'd interviewed previously.
They have a story in there, don't they?
They do. Right there.
Yes.
And they told me about some of the neat stories, like Ann Landers. Her parents actually saved, what was it, $1 for every time they made love. Right, and they went to Hawaii, and when they came back, they said, so now what? And they said, well, we're saving for, I forget what the other trip was, I think we're saving for the Caribbean or something like that. And I thought, wow, isn't that pretty neat?
Yes.
So that was Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul.
What a romantic way to look at it. Now, do most people connect the Lookout to SPIES and the romance headhunter situation?
I think the people
who... I got it right away. I thought, what a wonderful title. Going to be quarterly. Like, this is a summer issue, so there'll be fall, winter, spring.
Right. And the most important part for a lot of people is going to be the calendar in it, and it's called the Little Black Book Social Calendar. And what I did, because I've been going to all of these different events, because I don't go to typical singles events because it's too competitive of an environment. So I go to things that the 2030 Club does, the wine tastes that the Boys and Girls Club do, Make a Difference does the Heart and Hands and the Make a Difference Day, and they're a charity organization with 3,000 members, the Jewish Association of Single Services. I mention all the types of groups where you might have a high possibility of seeing a good number of eligible single people.
Right, events that would attract either married or single, but a
except for the Jewish Association of Single Services, they're all open to married people. So they would either be a great fun date for a couple to go on, or they're going to be a great place for you to find a date.
Roseann, it must be essential that you think on your feet and be ready for anything. The way you make contacts and the events that you attend.
Everybody's different. I try to listen to who they are, because some people think when they come in, well, I want the same thing as everybody else. Or if I meet them at an event, you know, how does she really do this? And I listen to what they want, because everybody's different. I found this one girl because her father was sitting next to me at a U of A Board of Directors event, and he later emailed me that his daughter was willing to accept a call from me. And I called her up. She came in. She told me everything about what she wanted. She had grown up with attorneys. She wanted a guy with sparkly eyes because she really liked the guy's eyes. She wanted a guy who was athletic, world traveled because she'd done an internship in Prague, Czechoslovakia, right?
Yes.
And what else? Basically, I'm like, wow, I've got this guy.
You're filing all this away.
He's an attorney. He's a good-looking guy. He's athletic. He just hiked across Scotland and Wales with his dad. And what else? Athletic. And they've been together since, I think, February.
So the old adage that we're all looking for tall, dark, and handsome really isn't true, is it? I mean, we're not all looking for tall, dark, and handsome.
There's somebody out there that's going to be different.
Because handsome is in the eye of the... Do you find...
Although most women want tall.
Really? Even if we don't tend to be too tall ourselves?
Even if they're 5'2" or 5'3". Really? Although some of the girls that are 5'2" would prefer somebody maybe 5'9" to 6 foot.
Right.
But overwhelmingly, women ask, like somebody who's taller so they can wear heels and still be short. Won't happen with me, but but it happens.
Back after this, don't you go away. There's a phone number in case you would like to connect with Roseann about SPIES, Leukemia Society.
Right, if they want to find out about getting involved right away with starting to fundraise for next year. They do have a national top winner too. Last year, all the Leukemia Society chapter winners were featured in USA Today. So this is really a powerful way to get paid back. You don't have any committee meetings. You do whatever you want to raise the money. There's going to be an honorable mention category, which I didn't mention earlier, for anybody who raises at least $1,000. And the top fundraisers who raise, they haven't set the limit yet, but it's either going to be $7,500 or $10,000, will be featured on one billboard together. And then the top fundraisers, man and woman, will be on the 10 billboards, so they can find out more details about how to get started, or just ask me any questions about that. And then if they want a copy of the Lookout, it's got a calendar in the back that we were talking about with all the social events, whether it's something they want to get involved in the community and just get active that way and find out what's out there to do, or if they want to find out where the great events are where I'm finding single people at.
And we will be taken to task if we don't mention it a little bit more in depth. There is a Man of the Year award also.
Right. His name's Jamie, and I didn't bring his last name. He is a pastor. He raised over $1,000 by contacting. He did a car wash. He said they worked all day long and raised $70. I mean, he really worked hard. I think he stood outside of a Safeway, like a Salvation Army type of, not to use, one charity to promote what another's doing, but he stood outside of a grocery store, got their permission, stood out front, and collected money out there. He really went about it the manual way, going out, one man, just accepting and working hard on his own efforts.
Is there a charge for the magazine?
No, there will be a subscription fee after the first issue. It will be $25 a year for a subscription, but they can call up and just get a free copy of it, just to kind of see what I'm about and what events they might want to go to on their own, or if they want to read about John Gray or the. We didn't talk about behind the scenes either. All the neat people I've been able to go out and find out. Like John O'Hurley was really fun. And he played Peterman in Seinfeld. A lot of people know who that was, and I didn't know he was in Seinfeld.
So, in behind the scenes, these are all people you've spoken with?
Right, except for Christopher Reeve. I spoke with Terry Ellisor, he's a co-owner of the Merck Bar, and he roomed at Juilliard with Christopher Reeve.
So, excerpts from their conversation.
Right. Lisa Loeb, Dweezil Zappa.
Mia Farrow?
Right. Leslie Stahl, Bill Plant.
So it gives us a little insight into these people, the many, many people Roseann meets, a myriad of celebrities, people of every walk of life. Doesn't have to be a celebrity. Yes.
If I can learn something, I'll go to the event, and I figure that the type of people who want to hire me are successful, and they're probably going out there to learn just as well. And even if the people that I meet are married, like one girl who's really serious about a guy right now, they've been dating since January. She found out about me because at the Economic Club of Phoenix, 3 people got my card and put my card on her desk the next day.
Incredible. Roseann, thank you so much. It's always a joy.